Welcome to Boomer Being. Today's topic, Boomer career changes. You're in the prime of your life now, and perhaps you're considering changing careers. Many boomers have already done so. Successfully navigating a career can be a daunting task. My guest today is Judit Price. Judit has a master's in counseling and is a certified career master, certified professional resume writer, certified brand specialist, and international job career transitions coach. Judit is principal at Burke and Price in Chelmsford, Massachusetts, and has agreed to share with us pointers on creating a job search strategy. So stay tuned to learn more about changing careers from a career professional with more than 30 years of experience in job coaching, resume writing, and career counseling. Whether you're looking to change professions or re-enter the workforce, Judit has advice that can help you. Welcome, Judit.
Thank you so much for inviting me. It's my pleasure.
Wonderful. So tell us, what does a career counselor do, and how can a baby boomer begin the process of changing careers?
Okay. Well, a career counselor, first of all, there is many different career counselors out there, and they do many different things. I happen to look at my clients holistically and help them get to the next stage in their career transition or career development. I see clients for several different reasons. Some people want to make a change because they're tired of what they have doing for the last 10 or 15 years. Some people are returning to work. Maybe they have never worked and now they got a degree and they want to get back to the workforce. There are some people who have a degree and they don't like what they do, their degree in, and they want to do something entirely different. Some people have been laid off and they want to find a new career. So several different reasons clients call me. And what we do is, the first thing is basically we make sure that it's the right fit, that what I provide the client really needs, because if it's no value there, it's not going to work. The second thing is, if I am the right fit for that client. If we're not on the same page and we don't have chemistry, it's not going to work again. So the two main things is, do I provide value? Are the deliverables I am going to deliver is the client, what clients needs, and then he or she and I can get along well and work together. Excellent. Have mutuality there.
What are some steps that you take with every single client?
Well, there is no every single client because everybody is different. And I have different programs for different people. Everything is customized. But what is the same is to make sure that we fit. There's like I mentioned earlier, and there is going to be services what the client needs. So if that's the case, then we develop a plan based on the client's needs, specifications, and budgets. And it could be very different from everybody. Just like there's no two people the same, there's no career packages, career counseling packages are the same.
So is there a process that you can describe for us?
Right, sure. So the process would be, the first meeting would be after we agreed on this is the right step for that client and he or she and I can work well together. Then we're going to do, some people want to go through the assessment. Then we're going to go through 7 or 8 different kind of assessments, measuring the skills, interests, personality, value, temperament, etc. Then we're going to see how those characteristics, those attributes, going to fit in what careers and what industry. Then we'll make a decision, very realistic, tangible, measurable this decision, and then we develop a plan, a strategy, implementing that process. Now, not everybody wants to go through assessment. Some people know what they want to do, and they just need some direction and focus to kind of channel their interest, maybe in the same industry, but a different function. And they just need resume or job search strategies or interviewing techniques. So it depends on what they need. And some people need the whole gamut. Some people just need parts of it. Some people need the counseling, the testing, and the whole career marketing, job search, resume. Other people maybe just need a resume or just need a career assessment to figure out what their best strengths and interests lie.
I understand.
Okay.
Now, you've
Yeah.
mentioned many times when we've met this assessment process. Can you give an example for our audience so that they really understand what is an assessment? I mean, is it a test? Is it a tool?
Well, it's a tool. It's not really a test. I mean, it's a survey. It's some of them are online, some of them are paper pencil. Most of them are done in the client's home in his free time, and then I evaluated it. I score it. You know, some of them are online to assessment tools. Some of them are, you know, I give booklets and a client fills those out. It's all varies, and some people don't even go through the assessment. We do other kind of techniques like cards, like card assessments, card sorting. We do stuff on the board and brainstorming and do different kind of diagrams. So it's, you know, assessment is many different ways it happens. But basically assessing the client's attributes, characteristics, like I mentioned before, skills, interests, strengths, aptitudes, etc.
So being able, I think what I'm hearing is being able to look at these attributes and their skills is what differentiates you from, say, a social worker or a life coach.
Exactly. Social workers usually work with people who have some kind of a problem. There is some kind of a pathology or something. Life coaches, I usually work for the whole life issues kind of things. I can do that, and I've done it. I have a degree in psychology. I used to do psychotherapy. But right now, I'm focusing strictly on the career job piece of it. So I don't do the other stuff. I mean, I can, and I've done it, but right now I'm strictly focusing. I branded myself because I always tell my clients they have to be branded. And I branded myself as a career coach, a career consultant.
You certainly seem eminently qualified.
Well, thank you.
Yes.
Doing it for a long time, and most of it as I love it.
Yeah, I could tell.
I really, truly love it. I can't wait to get up in the morning and get going.
So when we met, you told me a wonderful story. Would you share with our audience your greatest success story as a career counselor?
Yeah, well, there's so many. I don't even know which one I told you because I have several of them.
A woman who was moving from New York to
okay. That happened about 4 or 5 years ago, so it's not a recent one, but that's okay. I shared that one with you. This woman, I worked with her cousin in Burlington, and she and her husband moved to Massachusetts from Manhattan. The husband got a job here. And she was on Wall Street. She was doing stock trading and bond analysis, things like that. And she said, when I came here, I want to look for a career coach, and her cousin recommended me. And she told me, I don't want to work in Wall Street or any kind of a finance or stock and trade kind of industry. I want to do something entirely different. So we went through the assessment, and the assessment is not a panacea. It's not going to give you everything. I use my own 34 years of doing it, you know, my at least 50% of my gut feelings, my education, my training, my insights goes into it with the assessment. So after we did the assessment, you know, I still wasn't 100% sure, fine-tuned it, what is she going to be doing? And we had this meeting and talking, and turned out that she grew up in San Fernando Valley in San Francisco area. Her family had orchards, and she loved history. She was very outgoing, she was very attractive. She had a lot of personality. She knew a lot of different cultural things, and she knew a lot about wine. And I said to her, what do you think of becoming a sommelier? And she said, wow, I never thought of that. You're right, grew up with wine all my life. I never even put the two together. It was always my hobby. So make a long story short, she has 3 accounts, the Roosevelt Marriott, the Omni Parker House, and the Sheraton downtown.
Big accounts.
So big accounts, right. So, you know, she is pretty famous, and she's pretty well known, and she's very successful.
I love that
story.
So,
yeah, I love that story too. It's great. I have another one who, a young woman, she was 18 or 19, came with a little baby. And she had a high school, a GED. And came in and said, you know, I really would like to do something. I don't know what. I don't know what school to go to. I don't know what am I good at. I just got my GED. So again, a long story short, she went through Middlesex. She went through UMass Lowell. She went to BU MBA at BU, and she's working at PricewaterhouseCoopers as a senior analyst.
Wow, it's pretty impressive.
And she has absolutely no idea what she wants to do. Her child is now all grown up and goes to the best private colleges, and very, very successful. So, you know, I mean, I have a lot of these stories.
Very impressive.
So,
And
both ends.
you've helped a lot of people.
I helped an awful lot of people, yes. And it's such a wonderful feeling to people come to you and they don't know what they want to do and they lost. And then after 4, 5, 6 meetings, they know what they want to do. And they said, oh, I accomplished something. I know what I want to do. I know I just have to go and get it. But I accomplished the knowledge of the self-confidence grows and the self-esteem is going to go a notch up for these people.
So what do you say to people who are watching this show and they're unhappy, they're not sure, you know, what they want to do with their lives, and they're thinking, you know, I've always wanted to do something else, but I'm afraid to change careers. So what would you say to them?
Well, if they're afraid, then, you know, it is something they really have to think about, and they have to realize that it's much scarier to stay in the same job and being unhappy than making the change. They should look for a professional, because family means very well. They are very well meaning, your uncles, your aunts, your parents, your cousins, your brothers, but they have an angle in your life. Career coaches, career counselors don't have that angle. My only angle is that the person walks out of my office, he says, this is the best thing I ever done, and Judith was influential in my success. That's all I care about, because everybody is a referral from somewhere else. So they should look for somebody who fits their personality. They have a good match, and the person is seasoned and knowledgeable and knows the job market and knows, because you could be a great career counselor, but if you don't know the practical things, if you don't know about social media, if you don't know about the networking, if you don't know about the 21st century way, it's so different than was 10 years ago. I mean, I went through I've been doing for 34 years, so I went through I don't know how many recessions.
Yes.
And every time was a different kind of an approach for looking for a job, and different kind of styles in the resume. So you really have to find out who's up to date, who's somebody who's keep on track of what's happening and can help you in the business process.
I'm so glad you mentioned social media, because that was going to be my next question. You know, in this day and age, I've read a number of articles where people do, you know, little videos about themselves, and they have a massive online presence.
You have to have an online presence. If you don't have an online presence, you don't exist. Seriously. If you don't have an online presence and people went to look for you, you do not exist.
Wow.
Because you have to have connected. Everything is connected, and people have to be able to see you before they hire you, before they interview you, before they engage you in a project. No matter what career you're going to go into, no matter what kind of job you're going to go for, you have to have some kind of an online presence on the web, because it's just a way of life today. And it's just so open, everything. And you have to be able to Google it. Did you ever Google yourself, Leslie?
Yes, I have. You
have? Yeah. It's amazing what things come up. You know?
But okay, so say somebody comes to you who's on the older side of the baby boomer. You know, we have a whole range.
Sure.
1946 to 1964.
Absolutely.
So say they're you know, a little bit on the older side, and they're not really computer savvy.
Well, there's lots of computer courses out there. AARP has several courses.
Oh, okay.
Then Operation Able, AARP. There's the Jewish Vocational Center in Boston, the Lowell One Stop, all the One Stop Career Centers. There's all kind of tremendous amount of resources out there.
So you send them to get.
Oh, absolutely. If they don't know, I mean, sometimes I help them. I develop their LinkedIn profile, and I teach, because LinkedIn is one of the biggest in a social media, and I love LinkedIn, and I very much promote LinkedIn. I don't have any stock in that, don't worry. but I really very strongly believe in LinkedIn, what they do. It's a wonderful tool. And many of my clients, you're right, about 60% of the clients of the older side of it have no idea how to do LinkedIn.
In fact,
so I teach them.
Sorry to interrupt, but in case someone's watching and they aren't familiar with LinkedIn, could you give it a quick explanation?
Yeah, LinkedIn is a connecting with other people. It's a database of people you know and you're connecting with. Perfect. And then you could you could promote yourself. You should promote yourself. Have to have a photo. Photo is a must. And you have to have a tagline. And that's what I helped my clients with, developing a tagline. You can't say, I am looking for a job in the financial industry. That's not going to fly. What you really have to, what is your brand? If you're in the financial industry, you know about what's going on in the financial market. You want to help people with understanding in the 21st century financial industry, what's going on. Something, you know, based on your resume. Again, everybody's different, but you do. But I develop a brand statement.
I love this. This is so useful for people who are right now, you know, searching for ways to put themselves out there. So please describe for us, because you're a certified brand, you know, specialist. How do you, a person comes in, how do you develop a brand? This is very exciting stuff.
Well, branding is really, I mean, it's a whole day course, so it's very hard for me to really put it into a 2-second thing. But it's figure out who you are, what is it what you're selling. Example, brand, some people don't even know what a brand is, but if I ask them what Volvo is famous for, everybody tells me because of the safety, you know. What about Nike? What people buy Nike for, the sneakers? You know, it's comfort, it's sports, it's hip, it's whatever. What about Coca-Cola? You know, it's refreshing, and it's what you drink, it's social, whatever. So you have to figure out what is your brand as an individual. And then
That's not so easy.
Well, it's not easy, but it's you know, I talk about we all have the VPs, the values, vision, purpose, and passion. And those are my 4 building blocks. And I work with those 4 building blocks with clients to dig out and find out their brand. And I develop their brand statement with them.
Can you repeat the 4?
Okay, vision, value, purpose, and passion. Those are the 4 building blocks. And then we have to look at the competition. Then we have to look at your the demography, you know, where you want to work. And we have to look at goals. You know, it's a lot of different pieces.
Yes.
And so that's what basically, but I do a whole day seminar on this, a half-a-day seminar. So I've done this before in different one-stop career centers in the past. But branding is very important because the employers want to have, you have a differentiator to your the employer you are applying for a job, because you want to be distinguished from your competition, and the brand is going to distinguish you. Your brand is going to distinguish you from your competition.
Now, you mentioned hand in hand with the branding is the marketing action plan.
Yes, but after we had your branding, we figured out what your brand is, then we're developing a marketing action plan. That consists your profile, your online profile, your resume documents. I provide 9 to 10 different documents with the resume, because you cannot really, especially if you're older and maybe you're out of work for 6 months or even a year. Sometimes people come to me, they're out of work for 2 years. You really need more than just a resume, and networking, you know, is very important, as we said. So those documents I provide is helping the clients network and build their online presence and their networking the hard document too.
Now, when we met, there's something I almost missed, that you were a certified resume, you know, specialist.
So certified resume
and
writer, yeah.
You mentioned that when you do a resume, I mean, this isn't like, oh, I sit down and I type.
12 hours I put in, Leslie.
I was amazed.
12 hours. Each of my resume takes about 10 to 12 hours, sometimes even more. I do a tremendous amount of research in the client's background, their industry, their skill sets, you know, where does best fit. And then we have to also make sure that it's the employment tracking system, the ATS, is there, because the keywords is going to want what's going to pick up that individual. So you have to be, the resume don't just have to be good English and worded well and not too much verbiage. It also has to be ATS friendly, application tracking system friendly.
There's a lot to it.
It's a lot to it. It
Wow.
certainly is a lot to it.
So someone comes in, you do the assessment. You know,
Not everybody does the assessment.
But
a
I
lot
mean
of people don't. Yeah, right. If they
you know,
want to do it, sure.
you take different paths. Some people you're going to, you know, work on branding and marketing and a resume writing, and other people may just need a little push. What about the person who comes in and hasn't been looking for a job since the days of the help wanted, section of the newspaper. What do you do with such a
well,
client?
I tell you the truth, there's not that many people out there anymore.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it's pretty much the baby boomers. I would say the oldest one is like the late 60s.
Not quite late.
Well, my mid 60s.
Yeah.
Mid 60s.
Yeah.
And basically, those people. The internet has been around for like 20, 25 years.
Mm-hmm.
Let's face it, we had help wanted up till, I mean, they still have it. The newspapers still advertise jobs.
Mm-hmm.
But people in their 50s and 60s are basically have internet. Not everybody and not all industries, but I work a lot with professionals, people who know about the internet. And they understand you have to look online. But there are every once in a while somebody, I look at help wanted. I said, you better forget the help wanted. You better go online and use the internet tools, and especially the networking tools, because that's priceless. That's where all there is networking. 85% of the jobs are found on networking.
85%?
80 to 85% job is through networking. So
how do you tap into that network? I mean,
LinkedIn is huge. I mean, you can find so many people. You have to do the Twitter and the blogs and the Facebook and all the other tools, the online profiles, to use the internet all the time, do your research, go listen, join groups, e-list, get on the e-list, write blogs for different industries. There's so many pieces. There's so many. It's hard. It's not easy. It was much easier. Look in the newspaper, find a job, take your resume to a typewriting place, type it up, and put it in a U.S. mail. But it doesn't work anymore. It's much harder today. I feel bad for people who really have a hard time, because it's very time consuming.
Yes.
And it's not easy. But that's why career coaches, career counselors come in place, because they take some of that heavy thinking and the heavy work off your hands and help you.
So how long?
I don't find jobs for people, but I help them.
Right.
I give them, I don't give them the fish. I teach them how to fish.
Right.
Yeah.
That's obvious.
But it really helps them. The coaching helps.
Yeah. So when someone comes to you, I know you said everything's custom.
Right.
Some people need, maybe they see you once or twice, and some people
10 times, anything in between.
But on the average, how long does a client come to see you?
Well, could be 4 or 5 times, could be 2 or 3 times, and could be 8 or 10 times. I also work with college students.
Oh, no.
And now they're graduating and they're worried about where I'm going to get a job. I write articles for the Lowell Sun in this topic, so people can always go on the Lowell Sun article and read that. I write a lot about college graduates and what the next step is and what they should be doing. And many parents are worried about their recent graduates. I mean, the job market is much better today than was 2 or 3 years ago, no question about it.
Mm-hmm.
But still, our young people are not prepared. Colleges and schools don't prepare them.
Well, this is actually very pertinent, because if there's a baby boomer who has a college-age son or daughter, and they're graduating,
that's right,
and they don't have a job, then they tend to move home.
Exactly, and you don't want them home. And you know what? It's interesting. I have this generation. I have the second generation of the baby boomers. Since I've been doing it for so long, for 34 years ago, my client was 20 or 22 or 25, and now it's 55, 60, and they have a college-age child. And the college-age child just graduated and doesn't know what he wants to do or she wants to do. Or wants to know what she wants to do, but she doesn't know how to go after it. How to do the networking, how to do the LinkedIn, how to do the social network, how to do the social media. Wow. So I help them. So I have a lot of second generation.
So when a college student comes to you and they're graduated and they have no job, how long would you need to really boost?
Sometimes I work with them 7, 8, 9 meetings. I also have the parents come at the beginning, at the end, to get the parents on board, because they're going to see the child, of course, much longer than I am, so they need to have their buy-in. And I have a last meeting with the parents to tell them what we've done, what we accomplished, then they can continue and follow up with the student.
This is fascinating. Now, I think it would be great in 34 years if we knew your track record, because you're so highly qualified and you have so many, skill sets. I mean, I bet if they
appreciate you saying it.
if they kept track of each, person that you've seen, maybe even
I have them in my database.
Oh, well, I should
have them.
I should have asked you that.
I have them. Of course, I didn't have a computer when I first started. I didn't get a computer till maybe 20 years ago. The first 15 years, I didn't use a computer.
Would you say your success rate is like, over 75%?
Well, it's interesting you bring it up because last winter was a very bad snowy day and I had nothing to do. It was a Sunday afternoon. I said, what am I going to do? And he said, oh, I'm going to send out emails to my last 150 clients and see how they're doing because I have them all on database. So it's not a big deal. So just see how they're doing and what they're doing and did they follow up. So which is very interesting. I got 80% response.
Nice.
Out of the 150, 80% answered. That 20%
they
bounced back. They changed emails, whatever. But out of the 80%, I would say 70 to 75% said, I followed up on our work. I am doing it, and I am working, and I got a job, and I got my second job, and I'm really successful, and I'm really happy. The 5%, well, I never got to it. I got sick. My mother-in-law got sick. I'm still sitting in my drawer. I will eventually get to it. But it was amazing how the response was.
Fabulous.
Which I was very, very pleased.
You should be.
Yeah, it was a good snowy afternoon.
Well, we only have a few minutes left.
Sure.
Would you be so kind as to just kind of pull all the pieces together for our boomer audience?
Okay.
They're thinking about perhaps changing careers.
Right.
They're not sure what their next step is. How can we pull all this together for them?
Okay, well, if you are considering a career change, please do it. Don't think about too long because sometimes I have people a year later, they come to me like 2 months ago and a year later would come, I haven't done anything and it's a year gone by. So don't do that. If you decide to do it, do it. Because if you don't, very, very rarely things going to change, So if you think that you need to change it because happiness is very important. So if you're not happy at your job and you're not satisfied, you're not being compensated what you are worth, you owe it to yourself to do something about it. Find somebody who you're compatible with, who you can work with, who you are comfortable with, and the person also have the knowledge, the experience, and the training that can help you. And then go for it.
Well said, Judit. I'm so impressed.
Oh, thank you.
Well, there you have it. Had wonderful advice from a true professional who can help you in your effort to change careers. Stay tuned to the end for Judit's contact information at the end of the show. And thanks for being with us on Boomer Being. See you next time.